Titty spray.
We're live.
Testes. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, okay.
Check, baby. 1,
Everyone
2.
thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Have to.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to the Tomb of the Terrible. I am your Uncle Necro, and our coffee brings all the zombies to the yard, and their life is better than yours. Ha! Suck it. So, we have...
That was great.
So, we got our new jingle, everybody. Anyway, we have a full house tonight, and boy, howdy, do we have a movie for you. But tonight we have, as usual, Dr. Raz over here.
Greetings.
Pyle.
Hello.
We have Friday and Chaos, apparently.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing? Rob has joined us tonight.
Hello.
Hi, and
Rob.
Rob. Yeah.
Hold on.
And as per usual, Ron himself.
Hail, Scroob.
Okay, so tonight we have the B-movie classic, I would say, Braindead, a.k.a. Dead Alive here in the US of A. This was released back in August of 1992 in New Zealand. It's by Peter Jackson, and if you're only aware of Peter Jackson through The Lord of the Rings and or King Kong,
You're missing out.
Oh boy, are you missing out. But this was also released in the US in 1993, February of 93, and the version we got was 84 minutes. This movie was originally 108 minutes, and the synopsis I'm going to read from one of the VHS copies that are floating around on the interwebs. On a quiet street in a small town, pure evil has come to stay. An innocent young man, forced to care for his domineering mother, finds the task a whole lot more demanding after she's bitten by the cursed Sumatran rat monkey, I should say. And passing the point of death, Vera sucks friends and family into her gruesome existence among the living dead, and Lionel is sent spiraling into a ghoulish nightmare. Now a crazed zombie, she soon infects enough people to make it difficult for Lionel, still the faithful son, to keep the neighbors from suspecting that something is terribly wrong. Show of hands, how many people this was their first watching? And how many people have seen it so many times they can recite dialogue? Of course.
In fact, the monkey was a Sumatran.
Sumatran? Is that how you pronounce it?
I like Sumatran better. It sounds so much more...
Sounds robotic.
Yeah, you're right, Brett. I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable again.
Is he a Decepticon or a Autobot? If he's going to be a robot.
I mean, it's the rat monkey, so definitely a Decepticon, I would say.
Mhm.
There is only Decepticon.
Predacon.
Ooh. Probably. Okay, so again, this is my first time watching it. I've seen bits and pieces. I'm aware of the priest that has a very memorable, small but memorable part in this. Before
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I heard a grindcore band use this clip before their 8-second song.
And
Where's
this is
the whole?
interesting to me. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say this was super interesting to me because it got released in America in 1992, but then a year later, another movie was made, very similar but without all the B gore, and it was a Steve Buscemi film called Ed and His Dead Mother. There's a number of similarities actually between the plots, so much so that I've actually watched, like, usually when I watch Dead Alive, I watch Ed and His Dead Mother, and I just double feature, and I've been doing that for years now.
Wow.
It's so, like, it's a year in release, and they were actually making Ed and His Dead Mother while they were doing the American cut of, well, I mean, Dead Alive was the American cut, but so if you've not seen Ed and His Dead Mother, also go check that out. But that is not a B movie, oddly enough. Ed and His Dead Mother is a much higher production value, and it's a lot more laugh out loud funny, I'd say.
Huh.
And it's currently
It is on
available on
Tubi.
Tubi.
It sure is.
There you go.
Really? Oh, there we go.
It sounds like what Asylum Films does. You know, you get a big blockbuster movie like Armageddon or whatever, and then Asylum Films will come out with some not necessarily a parody, but like in the same genre, but much cheesier and terrible dialogue and worse acting. And
But in reverse, though, because believe it or
Right.
not,
Yeah.
in this case, the Ed and His Dead Mother overall, I mean, it didn't have gore. It wasn't as, horrible as far as all that kind of stuff goes, like blood and stuff. But like, it was perceived in America as the much better movie at the time. Now, since then, Ed and His Dead Mother is the cult versus, believe it or not, and then everybody knows and loves. Well, everybody in the horror industry pretty much knows and loves Dead Alive or Braindead,
Yeah.
depending on your taste.
Something like that.
Yeah. And this was not his first movie, believe it or
No.
not. He had done many terrible movies. Perhaps the most important was made and released 5 years prior to this one, and it was called Bad Taste. It is known as the perhaps the lowest budget comedy horror film ever made.
I have heard of that one.
Brutal.
Mm-hmm. Brutal.
Should we even talk about Meet the Feebles?
I mean, we should, because as I was explaining earlier, if you take the Muppet Show Tonight from the 80s and you introduce drugs, STDs, snuff films, murder, and other terrible things, and musical numbers, you get Meet the Feebles. And again, all done with puppets, 100% puppets. It is one of the most psychologically damaging things you'll ever see in your life. I highly recommend it.
so basically everything that makes life good and worth living.
Yep, take the doctor's advice. I'm prescribing you to watch Meet the Feebles.
Okay, then. Well, so yeah, I have heard of this movie through the decades. It's kind of a cult classic, if you will. And I hasten to say that Peter Jackson kind of made his Evil Dead 2 with this. It is clearly a splatter film, and I'm wondering how many gallons of the fake blood was used in this.
Oh, lots.
Especially for the ending,
No kidding.
because holy cow. There was a point where, I'm watching from the opening scene where they're trying to transport the rat monkey out of the Skull Island. So this is the first time he's actually referenced Skull Island before getting King Kong. So, and I was watching that thinking, okay, this is kind of quirky. I might like it, And from there, it's important to understand that this is set in the 1950s.
Which I did not actually catch right from the beginning. It took me a little bit to figure it out that it was actually the 50s.
I just figured that's how everybody in New Zealand dressed in the early 90s, late 80s. But that was just me. The land of the hobbits. But let's see. The blood gallon count.
I have it. It is 79.2 gallons of blood was used just in the finale.
Wow.
A little over 80 gallons was used for for the entire thing. But yeah, the whole wrap up, the whole ending like chunk of the movie was 79.2 gallons, which equates to 30 liters.
Okay.
Or 300 liters. Sorry, I'm brain dead.
They were squeegeeing it and reusing it then.
Yeah.
Gee,
Wow.
criminy.
Oh, no, they weren't. No, they actually were not. That was all just the blood that they made and used, and the cleanup on it apparently took many days. And many things were just entirely ruined. Props, set design, set pieces, clothing were, I mean, that finale was the finale because they ruined a lot of shit.
Actors' mentalities.
Careers.
Careers. Yeah.
For a low budget movie, a lot of the props were actually pretty good. Yeah. And a lot of the kills, if you want to call them kills, because clearly they're zombies, but they're getting disemboweled in some very interesting methods.
Yeah, they were very creative with a lot of their kill scenes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at some point, an entire rib cage intact was pulled out of some guy.
Yeah.
And that's not even talking about the undead baby.
Right?
I love the undead baby.
That was the point where I'm like, all right, so my brain can just I'll get back to you later.
Oh, dude, the undead baby. My daughter loved watching that. And then she goes, does he have barbed wire in front of him? Yes. Mm-hmm. There was barbed wire in that baby carriage.
Yes. Yeah, he takes him out for a walk like any dutiful father would do.
Why?
So that they could turn the park into a Rube Goldbergian death machine.
Exactly.
I kept rewinding it and watching that scene again because it was hysterical.
I mean, I'm surprised it didn't start using the. But oh my
Probably
gosh,
couldn't get the permission for it.
And okay, so what I'm trying to figure out is, okay, so he's in the graveyard. He comes across the greasers. We now know the greaser gangs, and they're turned into zombies because his mom just won't stay dead.
Yep.
No matter what he does. And apparently, what was it? Tranquilizers that puts him to sleep that he was using?
Temporarily, yeah.
Temporarily.
They were for bears. They were bear tranquilizers.
Okay. Bear tranquilizers that he got from, I don't want to say former Nazi, maybe. It was a German guy.
A veterinarian with a heavy German accent.
Yeah.
Did you not see when his shirt busted? When his coat ripped?
There was a lot that I was trying to pay attention to. There was a lot going on.
So when he goes and he turns, it rips, and there's a swastika on his arm.
I didn't catch that.
So, funny fact about that: the original cut was actually banned in Germany, and they made a special version of the movie that cut out all the violence just to be played in Germany for that actor.
That's
so it could be screened there.
I see. So it was a nice, cozy 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like they call it the FSK 16 rated version is what it's you can find it under.
Well, that should be interesting to try and find and watch.
Seen it.
But I can understand why Germany would be a bit nervous about the Nazi references there.
I mean, if you keep in mind that there was parts of Europe, a lot of Europe had banned the showing of Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. So it was odd that like only really Germany had the problem with Dead Alive, which was the gorier, bloodier movie. So,
Wow.
very odd.
That
But-
stands to reason, considering that the movie is supposed to take place in the 50s, which would have been not that far removed from World War II.
Indeed.
Yeah. But
And about the time of the Korean War.
why did he decide to keep him in the basement? Just to keep him contained, or?
Well, for two reasons. One was to keep them contained. The other reason was because there were people coming over. And he didn't want the girl that was interested in him to see them. He didn't want any of the neighbors to spot them. So he was keeping the whole thing literally under wraps by putting them underground.
You would think that fire cleanses all.
But it was his mom, and he felt responsible for the ones that she made. And also, Jenny wanted to talk. I know about the mom transformations.
Okay.
That was something that she loves about the movie.
Okay.
So, did you guys notice how many different transformations Mom actually went through?
Yeah.
I love the final transformation. Big
Oh yeah,
giant
that was so
ass.
cool. There were 4 or 5 that everybody noticed.
Right. So somewhere in there, I don't know if it was 4 or 5, but yeah, I agree.
Did everybody have a favorite version?
Oh, the final version, no doubt.
With the big ass.
Yeah, I keep thinking.
Oh yeah.
I keep thinking that could have worked in the film version of Pink Floyd's The Wall during the trial.
Right. Yeah. The
Come
mother.
to mommy.
Like
I
the
like-
first
I like the
First time
part of
that
her
she
that fell
got-
in her soup.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That version, yeah.
The first one where she was starting to puss out, she had communication. Her communication was starting to go bad. But the very last one that she was on top of the roof, that one, the communication came back. So everything else, it was just zombie, and then all of a sudden, this giant creature. So it made me wonder, if we would have let the rest of them go so long, would they have turned into giant beasts on
No,
top
because-
of buildings?
No, because she was the source of the infection. She was
Well,
our Typhoid Mary.
not only that, I think she was the only one that was embalmed-ish.
Yeah.
And she was pumped through so many different variants of chemicals throughout the movie that might have actually contributed towards her bigger transformation.
That's
Yes, she
likely.
was the-
Yeah.
Yes, she was the progenitor because of the monkey, but throughout the movie, she was the only one that was introduced to so many different drugs other than the tranquilizers and at the end the poison.
The only downside I see to that is that none of the chemicals that she was pumped with would have caused mutations. Even the mixing of some of those chemicals at most might have bloated her and popped her like a balloon, but with the gases and stuff. I mean, if this was a trauma movie, yes, that would have 100% mutation because everything mutates in trauma. But I mean, it's an interesting thought that maybe that was his version, because after he did Bad Taste, which had a lot of mutation in it, it might have been a leftover for that. So that could have actually been something he was going for.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
I
Fun
mean-
little. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I mean, the final, I would almost say the final boss of this movie was just so thought out in so many different ways of how it was operating, and in fact, it just had a reference that you're coming back to me and baby form.
Yeah. But yeah, that could very well be just symbolic of escaping the womb that his mother has made for him,
Right.
because there's kind of this thing where he thought he was the reason why his father drowned, but turns out it was a different thing entirely.
Oh yeah.
And there's a couple of things I want to point out here. Is one, this is not a movie you'd want to eat dinner while watching. Especially the custard scene.
I did.
yeah.
Mm.
I've eaten
Yeah.
beer and worse.
Yeah, we ate
Good.
pasta when we watched it the first time.
Yeah, I was eating pasta while I was watching the I'll call it the final fight.
Yeah,
where he
and
went
I was.
full on lawnmower man.
Oh, literally.
Right?
I was
Was it
gonna
Nice.
grab
ground beef
like
there?
I was gonna grab some pictures, but I'm pretty sure that we'll actually get in trouble for showing a lot of the pictures and screen grabs on Facebook, because of the severe nature of just the solid gore. Because I
Yeah,
even
they're
found
pretty
some really good
graphic.
ones of mom at the end, and I'm like, nope, we would get shut down. Like
Oh, it's
we would get
just
in a lot of trouble for showing it.
it's not just the blood, but
Oh,
there's
no.
also like intestines. There's a living intestine thing that goes after
Yeah.
our boy
Uh,
Lionel.
Not an intestine.
Not
That,
an
my
intestine.
friend, is an umbilical cord.
That came from the greaser guy.
So
Okay.
it started as an intestine until the part of it connects to mom, and then it becomes her umbilical cord, which is why the other end of it is going after her son. Because if you pay attention, especially in the long cut, some of the stuff she's like yelling about at the end, and like a lot of the things that are happening, like she wants basically him to rejoin her. And
Right.
by attaching the umbilical cord, the plan there is to reel him in and up. If you get what I'm saying.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of context with that going on.
There's a lot of Freudian stuff here
There's
that
a lot.
we're unpacking that I
Yep.
had no idea.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. And it's
it
based on the
just
comment that
Let's
his
just leave it
girlfriend makes
back.
earlier on about how, if you love your mother so much, why don't you just crawl back up inside her, something like that. That wasn't the exact line, but there was like some like dialogue similar to that right after the scene where she's falling apart in her soup.
okay. Also, what exactly was the purpose of that amulet that he was given?
It never really came into play. I mean,
Right.
It
didn't
did.
actually
It
do anything that I'm aware of.
did.
It
And
pointed-
That's how it got out.
It pointed to the trunk up in the crawl space attic.
Right.
also, the presence of the amulet at the end of the movie, it being there, was what allowed him to draw in and destroy the evil. That was actually in an even longer cut that got cut out of the UK of the New Zealand movie than before it got cut for America. So that had a much bigger part in it. That was supposed to be how he was supposed to have gotten rid of the evil. Think of it as the amulet from Monster Squad. That was kind of the shtick behind it. And it was a little bit of an Evil Dead ripoff because it was supposed to, and a Monster Squad ripoff because it was supposed to create this vortex that was going to suck all the evil away. And they realized as they were going to do that, oh, Evil Dead did that. Monster
There's
Squad did
something
that.
that's supposed to be integral to the plot basically just becomes a MacGuffin.
Yes, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's B movies. They introduce things they never do anything with. There's a lamp that's on the table. The next scene it comes back, the lamp's just not even on the table anymore. Like it's continuity stuff. That's a big problem with B movies.
Yeah. And all right. So also
Oh, all right.
Or I really
Also-
love this movie.
apparently so. This being my first time around, I'm sure there's a lot of things that I missed. However, because I stuck around and watched the credits a bit, that was Peter Jackson as the assistant to the mortician.
Yeah.
So, in case you've seen it, just kind of wondering.
His little appearance.
Now, I have to admit that I knew about Dead Alive / Braindead
Right.
for quite a while when I really started getting back into horror movies and everything. I just had no idea this was made in the early 90s. This came out after I graduated from high school and right before I went to college.
Nice.
It was released while I was just, in my second month of college here in America.
And this is one that actually did have the posters and a cardboard stand in old video stores.
Yeah. Now, what did you guys think of the initial cover art where the guy's like holding his mouth open and had that face staring at you? Does that
Female.
represent
It's a
female?
actually his girlfriend.
Really? Huh. I did not see that.
Yeah.
So it's basically her doing that.
For no reason, because it looks cool.
Well, isn't it toward the end? Not the girlfriend, but the woman that she saves that was in the closet with her.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end, the baby gets her
Yeah.
from behind, pulls her face open and comes out through her mouth, and she's doing that horrible, evil laugh.
That's what it's in reference to. But if you look at the artwork, it looks a lot more like the girlfriend than it does anything else. It's odd. It looks just like her. Like, I always wondered why they didn't use the other actors for the artwork. It's like that would have been sensible. That would have really tied it in.
I remember seeing that at the local video store, the cover of it. And, this was back when they still had the mom and pop stores, very prominent before the Blockbuster Video moved in and killed everything. But I remember seeing that VHS copy of that particular artwork, and I was thinking, this is probably like a cyborg underneath taking off the disguise. What did I know?
Yeah, right.
So it's also a ripoff of unused artwork from They Live, because there was an old one of the old covers and artwork actually had the flesh face, like with somebody doing this, but it was the They Live alien face underneath.
Okay.
So that was stuff that they didn't use way back way back when for that, and that was also kind of a Jackson homage to They Live in a weird kind of way.
Wow. Okay. It's just learning so much about this movie. Gives it so much depth.
It's got a place. I mean, there was a lot of things that were homages, and then so many movies have done homages to it. And for Peter Jackson to go from Bad Taste to this was believe it or not, a big bump in production for him. And then he moves into Meet the Feebles, which actually had a big budget, and then The Frighteners, and from then on he becomes basically film royalty with King Kong, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. And he got to that point in his career where he just kind of, there was a small amount of time where even he shat on his old stuff. But he has the same studio that he started way back in the day that's still in New Zealand. It's still there. A lot of the props from these movies and things that are, that weren't destroyed from blood are still actually at his studio. So it's weird because so many people know Peter Jackson, have no idea actually who the fuck Peter Jackson is. And it's odd to me, because this is the Peter Jackson I grew up with. Uh-huh. I thought it was weird when he started doing King Kong and Lord of the Rings. That was the weirdest thing in the world to me.
Oddly enough, I became aware of Peter Jackson through his movie The Frighteners, which is one of my favorite movies.
I cannot say enough about that movie being awesome.
Yeah, Frighteners.
Oh, yeah.
Jeffrey Combs from Reanimator. I mean, come on. Like, that movie it was star-studded and beautiful, that movie.
I mean, Arlie Ermey for crying out loud.
I had seen The Frighteners long time ago. I still don't think that I was familiar with who Peter Jackson was until Lord of the Rings came out. And then when you go back and watch The Frighteners, you're like, oh, that's Peter Jackson?
Yeah. Yeah. And then you watch this movie and you go, that's Peter Jackson.
That's Peter Jackson? Okay.
I watched a whole lot of Peter Jackson things when I was younger and had no idea. That's why my parents were picking him, because of him.
Oh, yeah. And it's interesting because The Frighteners was supposed to get a sequel. But by the time they decided they wanted to do the sequel, that's when they discovered that it wasn't detoxing from alcohol that had Michael J. Fox shaking so much it was Parkinson's.
Right.
Which is also why he didn't get the role of Spider-Man earlier before the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie was made, because he was supposed to be Spider-Man. He was going to be Peter Parker. So his whole career kind of falls apart over that. Peter Jackson goes to the drawing board and does King Kong. Meanwhile, there's this big movement to figure out a time with Michael J. Fox to come in and do a cameo for Frighteners 2. That went all the way up until 2020, with him trying to figure out how to do Frighteners 2 and bring him back with a cameo, which then turned into a kind of a soft reboot, but with him as still a cameo with the Frighteners TV series. And that is still something that's being discussed now, is the potential of the Frighteners TV series.
I'm wondering where his role in Spin City came into play, where it falls.
Yeah, that was tough, because through the worst of the alcoholism, they thought, I mean, he did drink, he did do drugs, he talks about it, but I mean, the worst of the Parkinson's stuff was while he was actually doing Spin City.
Yeah.
A lot of it really started coming out towards the end of that, and then of course he left before the show even ended.
Yeah, yeah, and Charlie Sheen was brought in as his replacement, and things weren't really the same.
See how that turned out.
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen ruins everything. Anyway,
He's done some great
no,
stuff though. The Hot
he's
Shots
great.
movies.
He's
Have you
great.
heard Hot Shots Part 3 might be happening?
Really?
There's
Is
a rumor
he?
about that and a sequel to Men at Work. They're two things that are being
Oh,
discussed right now.
nice.
Both with Charlie Sheen.
Both with Charlie Sheen and Emilio.
Nice.
Looks like he may be coming back for Men at Work, but they're still talking a lot about this. The
Interesting.
Sheens though and Estevez is coming from Kettering, Oakwood, Ohio. That's where a lot of them are from, and you can still occasionally see some of them in that area, which is a suburb, like it's not a suburb of Dayton, but it's near Dayton.
No, I was kind of disappointed that Charlie Sheen wasn't a part of Arrival 2.
Me too, because I love the first one, and the second one was garbage without him.
Yeah,
This was.
tried watching that, but anyway,
Yeah.
we're actually talking about a different movie.
I'm curious because, like, as much as I love this, the only other person I've ever met in my life that loves it as much as me and has seen it as much as me is Jenny. And like, what I need to know from Jenny, if it's okay, is like, what's your favorite part of the movie? Like, what's the one part of the movie that like? Because I know, like me in your youth, you would also rewatch certain scenes over because we've talked about that. What was that scene for you that you just had to like that you cheered every time it popped up?
Oh, that I cheered every time it popped up. Either the part where the intestine/umbilical cord was acting like a puppy, or the lawnmower scene.
Yep, lawnmower was definitely the one for me.
Lawnmower.
I do love the moment that we see the rat monkey at the zoo for the first time. Like that
Yeah, that was
magical moment of the, early in the movie, just that fucking claymated rat monkey.
No,
So once upon a time, I had to watch this movie because Raz made me.
Mhm.
I also concur on the lawnmowers because when we actually watched it, I was like, "Nope, stop, go back."
Yeah, we did rewatch that one scene a couple times during her first viewing.
so
And I mean, it's been a couple of years, but I still think about it, and I'm like,
So I would like to ask, does anybody have any thoughts on Lionel's uncle?
He reminded me of Uncle Buck.
Yes,
John Candy and Uncle Buck.
If Uncle Buck was a pedophile, yes.
Right.
yes.
Or just a slime ball altogether.
Yeah.
Ask
'Cause-
Josh. This last time around, I kept saying, "Eat him! Let them eat him, please!"
Some of that was
Buck was kind of a slime ball. He just was like an 80s slime ball, not the ones we have now.
Well, there was, if you'll notice, his interaction with Lionel was a little bit odd. And there's a scene where Lionel comes up and puts his hand on his shoulder and he goes like this real quick, like when Lionel's still alive. There was actually the touching stuff was actually in the original script, and you were supposed to get a little bit of a backstory about that, why Lionel wasn't supposed to be at the house because he wasn't welcome there. But they thought that with everything else going on, that would confuse the plot too much, but left little things in, in the movie.
Yeah.
I was confused as to what he was puffing on. I thought it was like some
It was
kind
pipe.
of inhaler.
No, it was so they made these some of the pipes back in the day. They were called like Sneaky Pete's. It's where Sneaky Pete's came from. They were tobacco pipes before they were weed pipes, and they would fit and curve in the palm of your hand, so you could literally just go like this and hit it real quick.
Huh.
And that was it's supposed to be a Sneaky Pete pipe because I've actually seen the prop that they used for that.
I see. I believe we call him a different thing here.
There's a lot of different. There's Dugout, Sneaky Pete's. There's a lot of different names for those little secret smoking devices.
Yeah. But yeah, overall though. Okay, so since you and Jen have talked about it, I want to get an idea of what everybody else's favorite part of the movie was. So, Pyle?
I think me and Rob and Ron all have a very good quote in a section of the movie we quite like.
Okay.
And it's when the priest is in the cemetery and he comes flying at that one zombie and goes, "I kick ass for the Lord." I had to rewind that so many times. And Raven goes, why is he doing that? I said, because he kicks ass for the Lord.
Yeah,
It's almost as good as I came here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Yep.
Right.
That was the sound clip that I first heard on a grindcore song. They just played that. This requires some divine intervention, and then said,
Right.
and then I kick ass for the Lord.
It is the most used line actually in the entire horror film world. A lot of movies, even major Hollywood movies, have used that line as homage to this movie because that line is such magic.
I loved it.
Even action movies have used it.
I mean, it's so great that Ron is using it as the background.
That took some forethought.
Right. And Amina, was there a favorite part? No? Okay. Are they away?
He's probably working.
Yeah, she might have been working.
Probably.
Yeah,
okay. All right. So my favorite part though was it was the entire slaughter scene at the end.
Fair enough.
That was the point where I'm like, okay. I mean, the entire party scene, if you want to extend it, was quite ingenious, and there was some very, very well thought out, I think, kind of, gore effects and disembowelings.
Right.
And somebody's going to use this sound clip of me saying that against me in court one day. I just know it. But when he walks in with the lawnmower, the wackiness ensues, and I'm just very good. Very good. And then Mom shows up.
It's all downhill from there.
Just when you thought, okay, they're all pureed. He's just slipping and sliding in their gooey essence. This would be a great part where any American filmmaker would ended up at, but no. Mom shows up.
Yeah.
Now
Literally shows up.
Right. Literally shows up. And I got to say, though, the way they ended it seemed apropos of the time where it's just fire trucks and they just walk off into the night, arm in arm. End of movie.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well.
Sorry.
Bless you.
How dare you,
Gesundheit.
sir?
Gesundheit. But,
Hey.
would you recommend this movie to other people? Raz?
Yes.
I've made like not even just Amina, like I've made so many people in my life watch it. Like I don't think I've ever dated anyone I've never made watch that movie, or just been friends with anyone for any period of time that I've not made watch that movie. It's what I think it is probably the one that I have recommended the most in my life. Definitely.
Okay. Pyle?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, me and Raven decided that we need to make this movie one of the movies that go into our library. Once again, 5-year-old daughter enjoyed it. Said there was a lot of spaghetti sauce everywhere.
Now, I am curious. Did this movie usurp the Poop Monster movie?
No, because this didn't come with a good Poop Monster song.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Poop
Came with
Monster
everything
song,
else, though.
That song is what keeps that movie at number one, because just this morning she wanted to know if we could play the Poop Monster song on the way to the babysitter.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Okay. Jen.
I have, and I do, and will continue to do so.
And Josh.
Uh-huh.
Man of many words.
Yeah.
Tell us how you really feel, Josh.
Poor guy's falling asleep over there. He's had a hard day. Leave him alone.
We're watching this again. Rob, what do you say?
Yeah, no, I will be. I have I write some horror comedy, and I've had people ask me how to do that. this is an excellent example of the way that they use the romance between Lionel and his girlfriend. It's
Mhm.
they have a serious part that's actually kind of touching that they can bounce the comedy off of. I think that worked out great. That's oh shit, what is it? Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
That's
Yeah.
a good
Same,
too.
he's the
So
same
was that
thing.
sequel.
When you have is it Dale's the big guy? I get names confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing about Dale and him falling in love with this girl and she likes him back and everything else gets to bounce off of this one through line story that's kind of sweet and touching, and it makes it really good. Just as the same thing on a smaller budget
Oh,
and
yeah.
with way more blood.
A lot more.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, this is also known as a telenovela horror film. That's another title that's been used to describe this movie.
Really?
Mhm.
Huh. Is it because the girlfriend was technically from Spain?
Well, that, and if you look at the entire construction of all the plots, guy falls in love with the girl. Girl comes from a very Latin family that just happens to have magic in their background somewhere. Then the mother hates hates the woman, then comes back as a zombie and tries to ruin their romance. It's telenovelas get really out there and insane. That's why they're fun to watch.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you were to add a bunch of blood and gore to one, you would, and spice up the comedy a little bit, you'd pretty much. I mean, it's spot on.
Now, the thing about telenovelas, not normally I associate them with Mexican soap operas, because my mother at one point just got addicted to the telenovelas, the badly dubbed versions, and when she's watching them and I have to take her somewhere, she listens to them without headphones, and I have this strong cheese detector, like cheese, high amounts of cheese, must focus, can't get sucked in, because some of the dialogue is just wow.
Oh yeah, my ex-wife and her family, they were Puerto Rican, Cuban, and like when they would all get together, they would just watch telenovelas for hours. And so I just kind of, I would just sit down and kind of watch them with them, and then it always cracks me up to think about Evil or Dead Alive like that. But a lot of people do refer to it as a telenovela.
Wow.
B movie, B horror.
That just adds another layer of wow. Okay, Ron, what say you?
I will absolutely be sharing this movie with other people, and I plan on introducing my best friend Matt to this movie because I'm fairly certain that it will be right up his alley as well. I mean, I feel like there's so much in this movie that we haven't really even touched on because there's so much to it,
There's a lot we probably shouldn't get touch on, or we'll get banned.
Well, like one of the things is that the Spanish girl is hung up on this one guy, the really good looking jock dude, and he's so completely oblivious. And then the grandmother says that be on the lookout for the guy with the star and the moon. And then that's when Lionel enters the picture, and Lionel's basically what we would have considered at the time a dweeb, but because she sees the symbol of the star and the moon, it's just like she fixates on him for no fucking reason other than that grandmother told her, watch out for the guy with the star and the moon.
That's where not being immersed in the culture has you confused, my friend, because when grandma, who has abilities in your family, tells you to pay attention to something, you pay the fuck attention because she's right. That's just that. I mean, that's a cultural thing right there. I'm being very honest. That's a cultural thing, especially with like Santeria and things like that. You do it. That's why most people like back then didn't even question that back then.
I
because
get
it was
it.
a lot more known
if
then.
she had made her own choice and said, okay, he's a dweeb, I can't do this, the movie wouldn't happen. So, obviously there has to be some kind of a religious pull there. So all of the movie can happen. A couple other things. The priest, we've touched on the priest, just comes out of nowhere with these fantastic martial arts skills, kicking ass in the graveyard, and then after he turns into a zombie, he gets it on with another one of the zombie girls, and it's just like, okay, he's no longer bound by the word of the Lord, so I guess it's okay. It's just like, what?
Just glad he was
But that's
attracted to the
hilarious
nurse.
that it would be him.
And he
Oh, yeah.
loses his face for it, or his lips.
Yep.
Yeah,
And has a baby
it happens.
very late in life. Post-mortem, in fact.
I don't want to skip over Amina here. Are you listening in, Amina? No?
That's all right. Yeah,
Bummer.
go ahead.
Bummer. But as for me, this has immediately been put in the list of movies I will use to determine whether it's true love or not. You know,
Is it?
you love me.
It seems to be.
You want to date me? There's a couple of movies I want to see with you.
Oh, yeah.
Just to determine.
Will,
That's important
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
I can't say that with this movie with my wife because she looked at it and said, no, I can't do this. And Raven goes, come on, Mom, sit down with us. Be one of us.
Join
One
us.
of
I
us.
thought it was great.
One of us.
Woody gobbledy.
Join us. Join
But
us.
April's like, nope, I'm leaving. And she went in the bedroom.
It has a cute little rat monkey.
It is.
Oh, she's back.
We need that as a stuffed animal.
Well, I was actually here, but something that I made people aware of that happened Saturday night. The cops just showed back up, so I had to answer questions.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Wow.
And the ghost just opened Rob's door. Like, literally, Rob's door was closed, and your door just opened in the background behind you.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, it was the
Oh,
ghost.
wow. We were asking, yeah. Go ahead.
It was the recommendation, my recommendation for the movie. So ever since being forced to watch it, this movie is now something I get everybody to watch. This is up there with Shaun of the Dead, Evil Dead.
yeah.
You know, like this has
As it
become
should
one
be.
of my faves. So yes, like within 2 weeks of watching it the first time, I made Bobby watch it, which
Yeah.
was funny because I was giving Raz play-by-plays.
Yeah. Watching
So,
movies
yeah.
with me is a very different experience than watching them by yourself or with other people, especially B.
Oh, yeah. So we'll go around, and we are now at the part where we give this our rating. We're going to do out of 10, starting with Dr. Raz T Slasher over here.
This is the first time and may be the only time ever I will give one of our movies a 10. To me,
Wow.
not only, I mean, despite the storyline artifacts that got left over, but Rob was talking about the through story earlier and a lot of other stuff they're doing in this. This was a well-written script. Oddly enough, it was a well-written script, a good example of telenovelas, a good example of comedy horror, a good example of a lot of things. It had everything any B movie should have. It had butts, it had boobs, it had gore, 80 gallons plus of blood. I mean, the continuity errors were rife. To me, this is like the shining example of if you want to do a comedy horror B movie, this is your setup. This is your diagram right here.
Okay. So 10 out of 10. Nice.
10 out of 10.
Pyle, what are you giving it? Show us your roll. Okay. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
That's along with Raven's score. She said this is a really good one. She just couldn't figure out why there was a giant thing trying to eat the one character with its belly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your chin, my belly.
Wow, that is high praise coming from your daughter.
A 5-year-old.
Yeah.
It's a family film. I watched it with my mom when I was like 8. So
Me too.
So Jen and Josh.
You first.
Probably about 8.
8 out of 10. All right. Jen.
It's another one of my 10s.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, Rob, sweetie,
Solid 9.
9. All right.
Yes.
All right. Ron.
I've been sitting here thinking about how I want to rate it because this movie has a lot going for it. It has everything in a movie that I like, with a lot of creative kill scenes, a lot of blood and gore, a lot of good one-liners, and it has martial arts. I mean, come on, like how can you pass that up? And when you really step back and you look at the movie, it's kind of like good sex, where it starts out kind of slow and then it sort of builds up and it builds up, and they just keep giving you just enough to keep you interested so that you keep going, and then you get one final big payoff with a climax right at the end, and it's just so satisfying.
And requires a lot of cleanup.
And then it
requires a lot of cleanup. Days worth of cleanup.
There's a lot of fluid everywhere. You
a lot of fluid
shower.
in this movie.
This movie is a non-need of Blue Chew, according to Ron.
The fire department shows up. It just.
I'm going to give it a 4 for gore.
A 4 for gore?
Out of 10?
Out of 10? Wow.
Well, I was going to give it a 69, but I figure
a 4 out of 10 is your official rating.
A 4 out of 10.
That makes it seem like you didn't like the movie, though.
Well, I did like the movie. Okay, how about this? Since it had martial arts, I'll give it a black belt rating.
Okay. Interesting.
You need to work on your rating system, sir.
So
I try to do something different than what everybody else does. So fuck me.
Well, I'm sorry. I've got toilet paper.
I just imagine so Ron meets Girly Club. They're gonna go back to have sex, and he's like, "Okay, we gotta watch. We're watching Dead Alive first. All right, now I'm ready
to get you in the movie."
Yeah.
He'll be like, "Come here."
No, that's not how Ron rolls. Ron has other movies for that.
Okay.
The Karate Kid.
Their videos of Raz's mom.
It's got to be the third Karate Kid because that's the greatest one ever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's all about the Hillary Swank for him.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that part where she saves a praying mantis. Ooh.
Yeah.
Hot. But Amina, do you have one of your own?
Oh, yeah. For me, this one is a 8.5. It's almost a 9, but not quite. It is a favorite, but it will never be the favorite, I don't think. So 8.5. Definitely very solid.
Okay. See, Ron, they play by the rules, and we're not. So anyway.
Okay, if you want me to play by the fucking rules, I'll give it a goddamn 9. How about that shit?
Thank you.
Well, there we go.
Thank you. That's
now we understand your system.
That's what we were groping
What's
for.
higher than a black belt?
The next degree black belt.
Yeah.
There's a next degree.
You could have given it 9 black belts, like for example, if you want to put your spin on it, man. But it's got to be the 1 to 10 scale. That's
Yeah. I mean,
it was a 1 to 5 scale in season 1, but then we realized that we needed to up that because there were so many intricacies in the B film universe.
Now, as far as I go, I try not to do the decimal point rating very often. I like to keep it at an even keel. But for this, it's somewhere between 8.5 and a 9.
That's a fair rating.
8.5-ish. I mean, it's clearly far more than just your standard splatter movie, or it wasn't just an excuse just to make gross things happen like I've seen on a lot of very low budget zombie movies before.
See, I think they just made sure they wrote a decent script and did cool things in it to justify their ability to make a gross movie.
And this is a great example of Peter Jackson's talent as a filmmaker. I mean, when you go back and actually watch his earlier stuff, and in most of his movies, he doesn't make the same movie twice, unless we're talking about the Lords of the Rings, and that I would count all three as one movie, really.
Technically, all 6.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Because you got to throw The Hobbit in there, same universe.
Okay, but I also consider that a bit different from Lord of the Rings, too.
Yeah,
But,
somewhat.
So we all liked it. Hey, Mikey. So, all right, are we ready to spin the wheel?
Yes.
Reviews.
Oh, right.
Got to
Oh
do
my
reviews
gosh.
before we can spin the wheel.
This was so satisfying, I forgot all about it. Went directly for
Ron
the
thought so.
cigarettes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Showing.
So, all right. So, scrolling back down. Okay. If you're not a connoisseur of graphic horror and gruesome gore, you'd better steer clear of this wicked 1992 horror comedy from the demented mind and delirious camera of New Zealand-born writer-director Peter Jackson. However, if nonstop mayhem and extreme violence are your idea of great entertainment, you're sure to appreciate Jackson's gleefully inventive approach to a story that can judiciously be described as a sick, twisted, and totally outrageous.
It's like
Fair
Joan
enough.
the Holograms of horror.
I agree.
Really outrageous.
Okay, this is One Angry Zombie Baby.
That it was. That it was.
Let's see. Final thoughts. Dead Alive, and this is coming from the Amazon review of the Dead Alive version, but same movie. Hey, Tom Dog.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, everybody.
Dead Alive is truly a one-of-a-kind film. It gets a few ideas from something like The Evil Dead, yet it has its own charm that makes it unique and fresh enough that it make it a well-deserved 5-star film by itself. If you love gore, that's love gore is in all caps. My hand goes way up. Yeah, love gore. You know, on tour with Love Pudding and Corporate Tuna.
Love hurts.
Love Pudding, yeah. You will watch this. Corporate Tuna. You will watch this in absolute sheer delight and have a grin from ear to ear all the way through, just as I did. No other film is as gory as this. It's a must-have in your horror collection. Dead Alive, the 5-star from Rick Waller works great.
What?
That's his review. Works great. I don't know if he's talking about the DVD.
Like the screwdriver or something?
I guess.
Yeah, it works great.
Kevin Dudley. This review specifically discussed the American Blu-ray release of the film. What more can be said about Peter Jackson's classic 1992 release, Dead Alive, a.k.a. Braindead internationally? It is still my personal favorite film of his ever-growing filmography, and is still just as hilariously gross and depraved today as when it was first released. People who only know of Peter Jackson from the Lord of the Rings trilogy and his remake of King Kong are usually shocked when they are exposed to initial 3 films, Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, and Dead Alive. If you haven't experienced Dead Alive yet, what are you waiting for?
Exactly.
What are you waiting for?
Amazon customer reviews, this movie is a legendary piece of American cinema. The hell? The fact that an actor... American cinema. Not to mention, let's see, the fact that an actor, writer, producer, and director, then period, that's what they wrote for that. Not to mention it's Peter Jackson. The from here to there, so to speak, is an of his works. Evolution is incredible. Wow. Was this AI written, I wonder? But
yes.
We're moving on. I wasn't entirely certain that this Blu-ray would work only on my North American Xbox. Watched it, don't necessarily recommend that part of the viewing experience. I am a changed man. And yet he gave him the 5-star review. Weird.
Okay.
Didn't say it was a bad change.
I've always been a favorite movie. Owned it on VHS, which was converted to DVD, but the quality was bad. The DVD played fine, great quality, no issues. Okay.
Well.
Go see this movie. That's all I'm saying.
Just maybe, I guess, don't buy it from Amazon, but
Right. So now let's get to the wheel.
Okay.
Wheel us.
Wheel of morality. Turn, turn, turn.
Tell us the
Tell
lessons
us
that
the
we
lessons
should
that
learn.
we should learn.
Wheel in the sky.
Okay, are we ready? Did you want to do tubular bells, Raz?
if you give me a second to find it, yes, I will.
Tubular bells.
There's. Let me know when to hit play.
Okay, now.
Ooh,
There's an
we
ad.
get a.
Sorry, not my fault.
Legs.
Oh, Mandy the Haunted Doll.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie, I was really
Mandy the
excited because I
Haunted
thought it was
Doll.
gonna land on Freak there for a second.
Oh, okay. This is another one that Dell and I have. We can. There's music.
For the record, I kind of feel like I'm being
that's
stalked
okay,
by Michael Myers at work right now.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear.
But Mandy the Doll is another one that Dell and I had reviewed for the Movies and Beer podcast a few years ago. And that is wear a cup. So
Ow, my balls.
there's a certain
Lady.
level of painfulness and I am simultaneously sad and happy for all of you for having to watch this.
I've seen this one.
Yes.
Can I just say it?
What, say what?
To be or not to be, and it is to be.
It is to be.
Oh yeah.
And, I did send them an email, by the way, guys. I did send Tubi an email to see what's going on because we got to get some Tubi up in here for our segment. So,
Yeah.
all's definitely in your court, Tubi. Get it together.
I cannot right now.
I legit did email them, though, for real.
I, for one, do enjoy the new font of the logo. So,
yeah. Clearly,
your tax refund came in. So, you did some upgrading.
Yep.
So, Raz, where can we find you?
You can find me at RazTSlasher.com. You can find me at OwllightNetwork.com now, where you'll be able to find us all very soon, as I finish, building it. Pretty much wherever you want to look, there I am.
Okay.
This weekend, though, is a much different deal. You're going to be able to find me at Horror Hound Weekend. That's going to be in Sharonville, Ohio, from Friday to March 22nd to March 24th. I'm going to be wandering around the camera. Matt from Matt Monsters is going to be there the whole time with me. We're going to have Pyle there on Saturday. We actually have Steve Van Samson. I can't even talk. Steve Van Samson and Derek Rook from Roughhouse is going to be there. Wicked FX is going to be there. A lot of friends of the network and people beyond are going to be hanging out. So I won't just be there like interviewing like the guest stars, but I'm going to be interviewing guests too with like some polls and just some cool content. So if you see me walking around, look for the owl.
Remember to pick up some really great swag too.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah.
But that's it. Me in a nutshell for now, anyway.
All right. Pyle, where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me. Still ain't doing much with the Instagram thing, so I don't know if that's ever going to do anything.
Yeah.
But
Friday. On Friday, we're going to be somewhere too.
Yeah. We're going to be Friday night. Me and Raz are going to hijack 4 or 5 winning contestants of winning some tickets from our newest show, which is Chainer's Haunted Secrets. that premiered last Friday. And we're going to hijack these 4 wonderful winners, throw them in a van, and we're going to shove pizza towards their direction. And then we're taking them to Carnage. So we'll be at Carnage Haunted House on Friday.
Yeah, that's in Columbus, Ohio. So, if you don't see me earlier in the day on Friday at the con, you can catch me there Friday night. So, we'll be hanging out, guys. Good weekend.
Can they fit 5 bodies in that trunk?
Oh, this is a passenger van. It'll fit a lot of people.
Okay.
We can do 8 people in that van. Oh, yeah. We got
All
5 winners. Me and Raz are going to be in the driver and passenger seat. And we're going to tell some horrible and terrible things to some very lucky people that don't know what they're getting into.
Well, nifty.
Yep.
So, Jen, where can we find you?
You can find me here on Outlight Network. You can find me on, since we're part of the Dorkening, you can find me randomly on the Dorkening Podcast Network. You can find me randomly on Raz as well, pretending to be him. My main pages are Jennifer Elliott for my author page, Friday with the Library in the Blue Box, and Friday Blues Disorganized Library. Also, tomorrow, I am going to be briefly taking over Kate Marie's group, Kate Marie's Bandits, for her newest publication, the, what was it called? Thieves and Spells, A Tale of Thieves and Spells. And we are doing a swap. She's going to tell us about her book on mine, and I'm going to tell her about mine. And please go check out both the A Tale of Thieves and Spells and A Tale of Curses and Pirates and Curses, which is part 1. And yeah, we're just going to have lots of fun.
Nice. Oh.
Don't let you find me in the disappointments room in Rob's attic.
Hey, Del, we miss you.
Hey.
Hey, Rob, tell Dell I said hi.
Kyle says hi.
This is like the
He's
best
next
joke,
door.
man. It just gets better and better.
And I should point out that Rob's house is actually the house in the background, like back there behind Jenny and Josh.
Yeah.
There's this everything's connecting slowly, man. It's the one universe.
Just got home.
Okay.
Put
Rob.
some clothes on.
Rob, do you go running out through all the tombstones, butt ass naked, or what? I mean,
No.
he just said put clothes on.
Nope, I'm not the naked one.
He's only naked on the trampoline. Rob, where can we find you?
Lurking downstairs from Dell.
What above Pyle?
Upstairs from Pyle. Robsmails.com. And
He's a Rob Sanders.
I have all kinds of social media accounts, but you basically find me lurking around on Facebook. The account that looks like this.
Nice. Ron, where can we find you? Kicking ass for the Lord.
Like Savoir Faire, I'm everywhere. Well, not really, actually. I'm mostly on Facebook and TikTok, and that's about it, really. And here on Owlite, doing various streams and that kind of shite. I mean,
And admitting your sexual arousal for Dead Alive.
I never did that.
Sure. I won't clip that later for you at all. That's not going to be in a new ad.
I never said that I was aroused by it.
I think I can edit it to make it seem that way.
Editing magic.
So the new opening is going to be I'm aroused by Dead Alive.
If you can do that, Raz, and you go right ahead and do it, I'm giving you permission because I want to see that shit.
I might have to after the convention.
For the record, that was just challenge accepted.
Amina, where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Amina Raziel. You can also find me via Jenny because she pretends to be me part of the time. Currently, we're working on getting up the Amina Raziel author page on Facebook with website and new gaming stream incoming here in the next couple of weeks. So yeah.
I may be doing one of those later tonight. The jury's still out.
All right. And I am your humble servant, Uncle Necro. You can find me on the farm here.
Everyone.
Jenny is everyone. You can find me on the farm here plotting everyone's demise. And when I'm not doing that, I'm yelling at squirrels outside. Also, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I have a couple of blogs out there with my brain droppings about music. I also have a couple of other podcasts, Necro Shock Radio and the previously mentioned Movies and Beer podcast, where I talk about normal movies with friends who don't appreciate the finer qualities of the B movies.
Sad. I would get new
That's
friends.
sad.
Yeah, well,
Sir.
they visited me in the hospital, so I can't really toss them
Fair
aside
enough.
that
That's a good
easily.
reason, though.
So, in any case, thank you for watching and suffering through this. Next time, it'll be a couple of weeks. Remember, Mandy the Haunted Doll. Don't say we didn't warn you. So, seek help.
Does this mean we get to sing the creepy doll song by Jonathan Colton? Just wondering.
We can if we want to.
Yay! I'll do it.
Okay.